participants? Is this a recording or?
Yes, it's just you and I'm going live directly into my Facebook group.
Cool.
So they're going to see us as a webinar, but I'm going to send you the recording this way. If you choose, you can share it with your team.
Sweet. Thanks.
So I'm going to go ahead and go live.
You got to teach me this technology.
You know, I'm still kind of learning. There have been quite a few times where I thought I was live and I wasn't, and we got disconnected, and you know, it's always
You got to teach me this technology.
Okay, so so now I had to shut off my Facebook so we don't get the kickback, but I'm gonna go in from my phone. This way I can make sure that the people in our group see. Okay, so now we are live in my group, and then when the girls and guys are asking questions or giving comments or giving feedback, we will be able to see them. So, okay, we can go ahead and get started. There's a little bit of a delay. If you guys can see us and hear us loud and clear, just comment below and I'll be able to refresh and see all your comments. Okay, awesome. And now we can get started. I'm still learning this stuff, but you know what? I feel like you've got to get into the 21st century, right? It's all about the Facebook Lives and the Zooms and all that good stuff. So welcome to the call. We have Eden Slobin. I'm so excited to have her. I met Eden and her husband, Zach, who's just amazing, at my first Top Achievers. And I was brand new and I hardly knew anyone, and I was there all by myself, and these guys were just amazing. They were kind and they were gracious, and they offered me tips and advice and connected me with some people who really helped me take my business to the next level. And so I always have a deep respect for you guys, a deep gratitude, and I've watched you grow from being in the top 200 to the top 100. Last month, you were number 45, if I'm not mistaken. And I just watched you two grow so much, but I know it's because of the effort and the love and the training that you really put into your team. And I'm just so incredibly proud of you. You have a ginormous team in Hawaii, in the UK. So, I mean, guys, she is incredible. They're here, they're working, they're doing the do each and every day. So welcome to our team call.
Thank you for having me. I remember that night. It was the end of Top Achievers, like whatever big kind of gala that they threw for us. And I remember that conversation very, very well. And we were just so impressed with how much you had done inside of your first year, and watching you continue to rise through the ranks and qualify for every leadership event, and always seeing your name shouted out for top sponsors and leadership, or Leader in Action, Millionaire in Action used to be. We're so impressed with what you've created and so proud of you, and equally enamored and inspired by all of your success. So for those of you guys who are part of Angela's organization, you already know how fortunate you are to have somebody who is so committed to mastery in this profession and really paying forward what she's learning, so that all of you guys can really learn those same skills and just be as successful as she has, if not even more successful, because you know, this pay plan rewards us for leadership. And I guarantee you that just like how Zach and I operate, Angela's the same way, where she wants you guys to be out earning her. And that just, it shows in you know, the great lengths she goes to provide great leadership and coaching and education for the team. So I'm humbled to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. You know what? It's always been Zach and Eden. I said, you know what? Tonight, let's just have a little something for the girls, right? We want more boss babes on here, more entrepreneur ladies. You know, let's talk about a little bit about your story, because you were pretty successful prior to coming to Isagenix. I mean, most people think you have to be like down and out and broke and sell your refrigerator to be here. That wasn't the case. So share a little bit of your beautiful story with us.
I'd be happy to. And you're right. There is this idea inside of network marketing that people have to be down and out and broke and about to file bankruptcy or lose their house or whatever. That happens to be a lot of the stories that we hear because it's such a dramatic change. And there are a lot of people that come to network marketing when life is working. From the outside looking in, life was working for me. I had a really high paying job. I was earning a 6-figure salary in corporate America. I'd had a career doing finance inside of the entertainment industry for about 10 years. On the inside, I was dying. On the inside, I was absolutely nothing was working because I was so unhappy knowing that there was so much more for me. But I wasn't on the brink of bankruptcy or anything like that. I was simply inspired by what I saw in the industry. I was inspired after having fallen in love with these products. And I knew that what I'd been going to bed praying for at night for years on end was delivered to me in the form of Isagenix and tied with a bow. And I was able to recognize it because I was so intentional about wanting to do something different and wanting to do something more and wanting to feel fulfilled and wanting to, make more money and have more time and travel the world and be able to write my own paycheck based on the effort that I was willing to put in. So that was kind of my background. That's what I was looking for. I didn't know I was looking for network marketing. It was definitely not on my radar at all. But when I started dating Zach, he was in such great shape. I just wanted to know what he used for his nutrition. And so he shared Isagenix with me, and he didn't mention anything about a financial opportunity. He wasn't building at the time. He was simply a customer. He had had great results after being a Division I level athlete. He had fallen out of shape after an injury, and he got on Isagenix a few years later. And even though he had been into the gym 6 days a week, he couldn't get back into shape. So when he started using Isagenix, he dropped 20 pounds of fat, 3 jean sizes, and he went from 15% to 8.5% body fat. And that was around the time I met him. So you can appreciate, I'm sure, what a shredded 8-pack he had. And I just wanted to know what he was doing. And so I started putting these products in my body and I fell in love with them. I was getting ready to go on a trip to Vietnam in December of 2012. So 5 years ago this month, which is crazy. And I was concerned about having access to clean food. And so he said, let's just send you with some shakes. And so I took 1 shake a day. That was all I had. And I dropped a few pounds on my trip. I looked great. I felt great. I had loads of energy. I didn't get sick. And my boss had me come back to the office after a 30-hour travel day coming home from Vietnam. And the first thing she said to me when she saw me, said, Eden, how do you look so good? I said, Zach has me on these shakes. She said, I'd like to try some. We went to the Isagenix website, couldn't figure it out. I sent Zach a messenger, a message on Facebook. He ignored me completely. So finally, I put the computer down in front of him one night. I said, my boss won't stop asking me about these shakes. I'm out of product. I know lots of friends that would love this stuff. It's amazing. Why are you being so weird about it? And in that moment, it was the entrepreneur in him that came out and he said, well, how many people do you know that would love this stuff? I said, every person I've ever had a relationship with in my life would love these products. Why? He said, well, I've been hesitant to share this with you, but Isagenix is a network marketing company. I kid you not, I slammed my hand on the table. I can't believe you didn't tell me it was network marketing. You know I'm miserable at my job. You know I'm all about residual income. What do I do now? And he said, well, the company's known for 30-day systems. Get on a system and, I can point you in the right direction, but I'm not going to build it with you. For Zach, he had met the woman that he knew he was going to marry, and he had been around network marketing in the past. He had been disappointed and let down by different companies through the years, and he'd kind of had enough. And he thought that, I wasn't going to be successful. I wasn't going to make it. And he didn't want to go down that path with me in a new relationship. And so I said, all right, no worries. I'm going to get it done. I got on the system, had phenomenal results. And I went out and made about $3,300 on my own, not knowing what I was doing, little 15-minute pockets of my day. And it was then that he really saw what Isagenix had done so well that he had never seen in the industry. And that is that as a company, we spend so much money in the research and development of products that actually work that it takes an average person just like me, didn't go to high school or didn't go to college, dropped out of high school, no advanced degree or sales education, average person, and turned me into a marketing machine. turned me into a walking, talking billboard because the products are so effective. And he knew that this is a company where anybody can be successful. And that was something that really got him excited. And so when I sat him down one night and I was like, look, dude, I didn't spend my whole life looking for you just so we could be apart for 15 hours a day at jobs that we hate. Let's do this together. And he agreed. And that was about 4.5 years ago. This company has blessed our lives in more ways than I could ever even speak of, because so much of it has happened on the inside. The financial gains have been amazing. The fact that we could live with an ocean view in a place where people hope to retire one day, it's amazing. We're so blessed. We're so blessed to have time together, to have freedom, to work with amazing people, to really watch this company impact people's lives. What's the most amazing and the most rewarding is that I've become the person that I've always known that I could be, because this industry and this company has brought out the best in me, just like it brings out the best in you. And just like it brings out the best in the people that choose to plug in, that choose to do the work, that choose to do personal development, that choose to improve themselves, that choose to practice the skills, that choose not to quit, that choose to get on these team calls every Monday or every Wednesday night.
Yeah.
And that to me has been the most rewarding, is that I feel like with this vehicle, I'm actually going to achieve my potential. And I could have never, ever done it, in my opinion, in any other way for me. So it's been a huge blessing. That's kind of a long version of my story, but
it's a beautiful story, and I can so relate. And, from Zach's perspective, he loved you so much, and he felt so jaded by other network marketing companies that he didn't want to expose you to that. He wanted to protect you. So he kind of prejudged, and you were like, dude, how could you not tell me? We have an obligation to tell people. And you really pulled on my heartstrings, because I always felt that there was more to me. There was more to life. And, that's why I chose the field of social work, so I can help people. But $500 a week, and being away from my kids, and being put in dangerous situations, and going to homes where people don't want you there, that's a tough way to help people. Here, we share with people, and I've always loved yours and Zach's attitude. We're not responsible for your success, and we're not responsible for your failures. And I love that, because people are going to do what they're going to do. We're just here to show them the opportunity. I find that so many people, they get very put off, like they give it a small effort. And let me just shout out, you've got a lot of support here. Michelle Kleiman, hello, she's so excited to have you on. Christy Cup, Victoria Brunetti's watching. Alina says she loves Eden. Jennifer is saying, yes, definitely. Ross is giving you hearts. Sophia says, amazing. Bessie says, yes, girl. So we've got a lot of people watching and supporting and cheering you on. We know that our company is different, right? We've had an opportunity to meet Jim and Kathy. We know that the products are thoroughly tested. We know that the integrity of the company, of Jim and Kathy, they really are committed to changing families' lives, to creating more 6- and 7-figure income earners. And when I hear Jim say that it's not just to become the biggest network marketing company, he wants to become bigger than Johnson & Johnson's. And we hear him say that, and we get chills. And then, you have so many people who come in and they don't see the big vision. How do you cast this for them? Because I have so many good people, Eden, that have quit way before their time. Or I have people telling me, I feel stupid telling people about how much money they can make when I only cycle 3 times a week. Or you have people saying I've posted, nobody's responding, or I've spoken to 5 people and it's not really working. How do you help people to get over that hump? Because it takes time. It takes effort. It takes work. If anybody promised you that you were going to make $1 million and sign up the first 20 people you spoke to, they were full of it. So how do you really tell people the truth, but show them that it is so worth it? The bruises, the scrapes, the skinning your knees, it is so worth it, especially like what you said, to grow into the person that you've become.
So that's a really great question. And there's so many layers to it. So David Wood has a great podcast through Amplified Network Marketing where he talks about the different levels of belief in different areas. So our key goal always is to help people get to a 10 out of 10 in their belief in the company, the industry, the compensation plans, the products, the belief in themselves, which oftentimes is the hardest one, and then the belief in themselves doing network marketing. So, I don't subscribe to the idea of casting the vision for people. I think that people get to cast their own vision. And the best job that we can do to help facilitate that is by asking great questions that will allow them to dream. I love the question of, curiously, how much additional income on a monthly basis would make a radical difference in your life right now? That's the right now goal. They might say something like $1,000 a month. Great. What would an extra $1,000 a month allow you to do that you can't do right now? And they're going to give you an answer. And you're going to have a chance to dig into that answer and say, why is that so important to you? And why is that so important to you? Why is it so important to you to create an extra $1,000 a month? Why is it so important to you, that you not feel stressed about money or whatever? So you can really try to get to the depth of what their why is and what their motivation is. But the goal is to get just in like a 90-day goal. And $1,000 a month or $1,000 over a 90-day period with how generous our compensation plan is, that is totally feasible. And it's a much easier thing for people to see those incremental growth steps than it is to just talk about making $5,000 a month or $10,000 a month. And I might even ask, curiously, how much additional income would make a radical difference in your life right now? And some people say $5, $10, $15, $20,000. Okay, that's great. But what about the next 90 days? What would really make a difference in your family's life the next 90 days? What would really make this worth your time in the next 90 days? And hopefully we'll get an answer where we're able to just show them the path to that. So if somebody says, if I can make an extra $5,000 in the next 90 days, we're going to show them the pathway to executive. We're going to show them why leading with value packs is going to really set them up for success, both for upfront bonuses and ultimately just for their customers to have a much better experience, higher retention, and so on. Yeah. So showing them a pathway to achieve their goal is essential. And there are sometimes people that will show up that have very lofty goals. And in many ways, they're setting themselves up for failures, because it's not that there's no way to achieve them or they've never been done before. Absolutely. Anything that's been done, like for Lynn Hagedorn to go millionaire in 14 months, or Laura Stevens and Tracy O'Malley and Tanya Kirkpatrick to go right around the 2-year mark, and Trudy Maples also right around the 2-year mark. There's a precedent for it. It's been done. Is everybody going to do it? Absolutely not. Is the average person going to do it that's only willing to put in average level of effort? Absolutely not. But anybody is capable of achieving it if their why is strong enough and their work ethic really matches that why. Now, I like to have a conversation with people where I say, look, I'm just the GPS. I'm just a GPS. No matter, if you're wildly successful, it's not going to be because of me. And if you fail miserably, it's also not going to be because of me. I'm just going to help give you whatever your next step is. So if I tell you to turn right and you turn left, we're going to have to recalculate. But I'm going to match your energy. And here's the reality. Network marketing is a very, very highly paid career. And I'm going to find out, at this point in the conversation, chances are I know what this person I'm talking with does for a living, or where their expertise is, or, what they used to do professionally before. And I'm going to relate what I'm about to say, to what they do. So I might say something like, when you've been a nurse for the last 15 years, do you think that on day one you are as skilled as you are today, or even 10 years in? Do you think that on day one, no matter how much school you did, no matter how much theory you understood, that you are as skilled and as good and as knowledgeable as you are after 10 years or 15 years of experience? And you can say that with doctors and teachers and anybody, even for somebody who's a stay-at-home mom. Like the first day when you became a parent, Did you have any idea what you were doing? Do you feel 3 or 4 or 5 years into it that you have a little bit more of a grasp on it now? You have a little bit of a system underway. You're not, you're not totally in the dark. Network marketing, it's the exact same thing as anything else that you've ever learned how to master. Have you ever learned how to play an instrument? Have you ever graduated college? Have you ever worked on a thesis? Like, all of the hours that you put in practicing those things have allowed you to become really proficient at it. When you first started playing piano, that first bit of music in your first week or your first month or even your first year, you weren't that great, but you started getting incrementally better. Network marketing is the exact same thing, except as you're learning how to do it, you're going to be paid a tremendous amount as you go that's going to be equivalent to the effort that you're willing to put in. And so I'm just going to let you know up front that in order for me to offer up my mentorship and really match your energy, I'm really looking for a 3 to 5 year commitment out of you. There's no more commitment than just purchasing your products that you're going to be using and loving anyway, and attending a couple of events every year. And outside of that, I'm literally going to teach you everything I know. But I want you to just know that some people make great money in the beginning. Some people, it takes them a little bit longer. None of that matters. All that matters is that you're practicing, that you're plugging in, that you're consistent, that you're committed to getting better, and that you're treating this like a career, because it is one.
Yeah, it is one. We were at the Influencer Summit, and Eric Worre asked the room a question. He said, how many days have you called out sick in your real job? And no, nobody's called out sick. And then he said, well, how many days have you called out sick in your network marketing business? And people almost looked embarrassed, because for their network marketing business, it's like, I'll do laundry today. I'll make my calls tomorrow. But I find that the people who are successful touch their business every day. And people are like, Ange, you must work a lot. No, I don't work a lot. I don't. I started mapping out how many prospect minutes I spend, how many follow-up minutes I spend, how much time am I training the team. I'm really working 2 hours a day, 2 hours a day. And I'm pushing for a 7-figure yearly income. It's not how much time you put into it. It's the fact that you touch it each and every day. People get so distraught because they spoke to 3 people that said no. I've spoken to 5,000 people. 4,300 of them have said no. But for every person that says no, you get closer to the yes. You find the people that are ready, that are willing. Some people are allergic to the product. Some people are allergic to hard work. Guess what? Those aren't the ones that we're looking for, right? We're looking for Eden. We're looking for Zach. We're looking for great, great people that really want this, that see this. Even if you're not there yet, but you've got to believe in yourself. You've got to believe in the industry. And there are things that you can do to grow those beliefs. Attending events is number one, right? I mean, if I didn't get to those events, I wouldn't be a percentage of where I am today. So what are some of these skills that people have to learn to get good? I know that sharing the story, how to properly tell the story is very important, handling objections. What are some other key skills that you have to give time and patience to learn? So
everything falls within 4 categories. All of your activities fall within 4 categories, in my opinion. Now, what Angela, what you've learned to do really well, and you've basically just said as much, is that in a 2-hour day, you're able to be extremely effective and extremely efficient with your time. So this isn't about the amount of time. I'd be willing to bet that Angela is more effective in 2 hours a day than the average person is in 10 hours a day in network marketing, because she's doing focused activities. And so in the first year or so, there's just no way to really know how to be effective, because you haven't had missteps yet. You haven't dealt with rejections. You haven't, taken people through processes that took too long. You haven't had any mistakes to learn from yet. So the first year is kind of like being in a foggy room where you can't even see an inch in front of you, and you're just bumping into things all the time, and you're like, oh, that didn't work. Oh, that didn't work. Oh, that question was way too strong for that person. Oh, not going to do that again. Oh, could have done that there. The whole first year is about that. And again, you're getting paid along the way. But in year 2, like right at the beginning of year 2, an inch of fog starts to lift. And now you can see in front of you just a little bit more. And now that 30-second story is rolling off your tongue. And now you're asking questions that you don't have to overthink. And now you're really able to be present in those conversations about thinking what you're going to say next. It's starting to feel more natural. And then about 3 years in, right at the beginning of your 3rd year, the fog lifts a lot. And you look around and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm getting kind of good at this. Look at that. Oh, and I also earned X number of dollars. Instead of paying a tuition, you basically earned a salary for your effort, even though you're still figuring out what you're doing. I earned almost $1 million with Isagenix before I felt like I knew what I was doing, and still sometimes I muck it up. It's just all part of the process. So in terms of the skills to get really good at, the only way that you're going to get good at anything ever is by practicing it. Practicing it and then applying plan, do, review, right? You're going to plan to practice it. You practice it, so you do it. Okay, you plan it, you do it, and then you review it. So let's say you do a 3-way call, or you do a call with your prospect. Angela and I did a training called the Discovery Process about 1.5 years ago now. That's the bread and butter for our team. This was for One Team University. And so you might do a discovery call, which you can do alone with a prospect or on a 3-way call. It's really the roadmap to the sale. You do that discovery call. So you plan it, you do it, and then you review it. Okay, where could I have been more effective? Where could I have shaved 5 minutes off? Where did I allow the prospect to take control of the conversation and totally take me off template? You review what happened, and then you immediately apply what you learned into the next conversation. That's why the best way to get really good fast, and fast might be still 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, okay? But to feel like you get really good fast is to practice more times in a short period of time. So what are the things to practice? Prospecting, following up, enrolling, rank advancing. All of the skills that you ever need to know fall within those activities. So prospecting, following up, rank advancing, and enrolling. And that's it. So yes, the 30-second story kind of falls within that. Those are things that you can learn. You can practice on your own. Overcoming objections. It's kind of, you can listen to some great podcasts, but it's also a learn as you go sort of thing, and a don't take no for an answer, knowing that most objections are just people saying that they don't have enough information. The big key I see is a lot of people take no for an answer, and somebody says, their prospect says no, and okay, they said no, I'm moving on. If somebody says no to me, they go on my follow-up list, and I follow up with them as frequently as I need to. And if they're still saying no, then at some point I get to the point where I follow up with them every 4, 5, 6 months. And I have people like that I've been following up with for 5 years. They're still saying no, but I know at some point they're going to say yes. Maybe they won't, but I'm going to keep practicing on them.
It gets better and better. I think of my first few conversations where I first spoke to a prospect and they asked me if it was safe for their diabetic mother. And I felt like my armpits started sweating. I was like, oh my God, I didn't know how to answer. I remember my first 10 calls, I was probably describing how much my bowel movements have improved. It was terrible. I mean, in the beginning, we were all terrible. And then something will click. And then I listened to a podcast that talked about the 5 main objections that people have. Money, I don't have time, I've got to ask my spouse, or just, and if you prepare yourself and if you keep a cool head and a cool heart, I heard Emily Vavra say that we don't push or pull, we just educate people. I heard Kathy Savage say $11 a day or $18 a day, which one? And the longer you're in this, the more you invest in this, the more you listen to podcasts, and Zach and Eden put out some great ones, the more you involve yourself in this, you will hear things that make sense. You can say, well, I can use this into my repertoire. Susan Slide does 15-minute increment calls. I said, I can't get them off before 40 minutes, but it gets better. It gets easier. The conversation will become more concise, but sometimes we don't even give ourselves a chance to get good. I have seen so many wonderful people, Eden, quit that your heart breaks for them because you saw so much good in them, you know?
Me too. And some people are just going to quit on themselves because it's where they're at right now. I've seen people come back. I've seen people who quit, come back a couple years later and want to give it another go. And we're here, you know, we're like, what is it? Motel 6 will keep the lights on for you. Like we're here. Whether you're building, whether you're a customer, whether you disappear for a while, it's not going to make a difference in terms of what I'm doing because I am so consistent and I'm non-negotiable with my resolve around this. So whether it's you or whether it's somebody else, like here's how there's an analogy I came up with a couple years ago and I just keep coming back to it. How many of you guys just post, I know I can't see your comments, but just post in the Facebook live chat box. How many of you are familiar with the game roulette? So in the game roulette, in Vegas or in a casino, you go and there's basically a big board with a lot of different numbers on it. And I'm going to bet that a ball that's going to spin inside of a wheel is going to land on a particular number. And I'm hoping that it's the number that I put my money on. Okay, you guys familiar with this game roulette?
Yeah, so, yes, just comment yes below. We're getting some yeses. Yes, okay. Everyone knows.
All right.
Yes.
So the idea with network marketing and the way that you can approach your prospecting is you want in your prospecting and the development of people inside of your organization. It goes on both sides. You want to have your bets on every single number on the board, meaning that you're developing loads of people at the same time. You're having the same conversations. You have loads of conversations with prospects that are in the works. You get lots of people started. You place your bets on all of these different numbers. You're placing your bets on all these different people because all you need to do is for one of them to hit.
You're right.
If you've got money down on every number, then no matter where that ball lands, something's going to hit. And it takes that kind of an attitude and an approach, especially when it comes to developing people. And, you know, Zach and I have invested a year and a half in developing leaders and thinking that they're going to go to the top of the company because they have all the potential to, and they disappear and life happens and they can't get out of their own way or whatever happens. And if we were to allow that to knock us down when somebody quits, even after some of you guys, I'd be willing to bet, because I see it in our team, get so disheartened when somebody decides to quit after a week, after a month, after a couple of months. You see so much potential in them, but ultimately all of that serves as practice so that when the right people that you're looking for, these partners that you're preparing yourself for, when they show up, you know what to do. And so if you take this approach that all of it is practice and you allow that to relieve the pressure off of you, like for example, I just started taking on cooking. I've been avoiding cooking for the last 5 years, my entire marriage. I'm so intimidated by cooking. And I decided to take on our meal prep. I did it 2 weeks ago. I'm either overcooking things or I'm undercooking things constantly. And nothing, everything tastes bland. And I said to Zach, I said, you know what I've learned in network marketing is that if I practice enough, I'm going to get good at it. So I'm not going to give up. I'm just going to keep practicing. Are you willing to practice long enough? Are you willing to be bad enough long enough until you can get good? Am I willing to eat my own bland, overcooked food long enough until I can learn from my mistakes and make these tiny little tweaks along the way? See, you can relate network marketing and your journey to anything else you've ever learned how to do in your life. And I'd invite you to do that, because it takes the pressure off. This is the only industry in the world where people come in, the only profession where people are after a week are like, why am I not as good as you at this? Well, I've been at it a few years and a few thousand conversations longer than you. That's the only difference between me and you, is that I've just been practicing more. The only difference between Angela and the results that she's created and maybe where you or some of your team members might be right now is just she's been willing to have more conversations. And if you can do the same thing, that's it.
Yeah, and I love that. And people think that, the people at the top don't go through it. I mean, I was on the phone with Susan, Sly, and Lisa last night. Everyone goes through it. Everyone goes through it. We have people quit on us. We have people return boxes. Things happen. But what I see the difference between influencers and those who are just starting is we don't hold on to the pain. We don't invert it, and we don't, make it about us. You know what? They just don't know what they don't know. And you dust it off and you keep moving, and tomorrow back to the grind again.
You know what though? At first we do, but we learn from that because what we realize, and I'm sure both of us have had a similar experience, what we realize is when we're focusing on the things that aren't working, when we're harping over people who are quitting and, oh my gosh, why did they do this, blah, 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 we're missing all these people in our world who are saying, pick me, Angela, I'm over here, pick me, I'm just waiting for your phone call, I'm praying for it every night, pick me, Susie.
Yeah, 100%.
If we just get to focus on what is working. So if you're somebody who you find yourself where you are getting upset over returns, or you're getting upset when people say no or whatever, you can just decide to learn from that. Is that serving you? Is choosing to feel that way serving you? And if not, what would be a more empowering context to consider?
Yeah, I heard something very powerful early on, and I was so bummed out that one person showed up to my launch party, and someone said to me, instead of focusing on the 12 that didn't come, you take that one person and you pour your entire heart into them. And that's kind of how you have to treat this business. You focus on the good, focus on, what, maybe you didn't have 3 conversations, 3 follow-ups, and 3 new connections. Focus on the one positive, wonderful thing that you did commit to, that you did do. Because life gets crazy. I mean, life gets hectic, especially, I wanted to ask you, how do you advise or mentor people to work who have a full-time job, who have children? I remember Zach doing a beautiful podcast where he talked to people about, hey, don't quit your day job. Don't quit your day job. You want to build this network marketing business on the side until, right? Because when you do have your job, it gives you an opportunity to go out and meet people. People think it's so easy for a stay-at-home mom. It's not. I have no one to talk to. I'm home with 2 dogs. So what's your advice on someone whose spouse is not really understanding or supporting this, and they work full-time and they really feel that, the obstacles are piling up against them?
So with the spouse that's not supporting, I always say, show them the money. Yeah. Get paid. Show them the money. They'll come along. I promise. Mine did. They'll come along. If they really don't come along and you're getting paid and you're not totally ignoring them, right? Don't let the company become the other man or the other woman. So if you know that you're doing your share, then maybe there's something else to consider in terms of communication and there might be other things going on inside of the relationship, right? But for a spouse that is typically unsupportive, it's because they either they don't see that it's going to work because they've heard the stories about people in the industry who have tried it and failed because they quit. They didn't really apply themselves, or they feel like they don't see how you're going to create the time, or they just want to protect you. They don't want you to get hurt. They don't want to be ignored. They already feel like there's limited hours in the day with kids and life and jobs and whatever. So if you're able to find that balance and do that dance where you have an upfront agreement, a supportive spouse, a spouse that's just supportive of you in general in life, will tend to be willing to give you 90 days to prove it to him. Yeah. We'll give you 90 days of an extra hour at night to yourself to build your business, or an extra hour in the morning when you wake up, or might be willing to babysit or whatever. Come up with some sort of an agreement. Maybe you get to do something for your spouse that you wouldn't do normally in exchange for having them look after the kids or do homework time or whatever it is. Or if cut some kind of a deal.
She wasn't being sassy. She meant mowing the lawn.
I'm always being sassy. Whatever it takes. Like if it's a sassy favor or a sassy arrangement, then get it done.
You know what? Vicky said that her husband didn't take her seriously until she hit Crystal Executive and 2-star, and now he actually downloaded her Isopulse on his phone because he's like, "What's up, girl?"
Yes. Guys, your spouses, just show them the money. And how are you going to do that if you have limited time in the day? I'll tell you something. People who do go full-time too soon, and I see this all the time, they don't know how to transition from being an employee to a business owner. It's tough. I freaked out in the beginning. I didn't know what to do with all of this time. How am I going to spend my day? I ended up wasting so much time, being ineffective with my time. Whereas if you only have little 15-minute pockets, you have to be very effective inside of that. So you can make phone calls on a coffee break, to your job, from your job, on your lunch. I used to sneak away into the stairwell in my office building just to introduce somebody on a call, or just to see if somebody was open to taking a look. I would listen to podcasts at my desk with one earphone in, still doing enough to do a good job for my company, but squeezing as much juice as I could out of the little opportunity pockets that I had to get some work done. So start looking for those opportunities. They exist all over your day. It might be every time you go and use the toilet, you send a few text messages asking somebody if they'd be open to getting on a call. So there are ways that you can learn to really be effective with your time, even with somebody who has a job. And absolutely, Angela, people, your coworkers, the people that you see on your lunch break every day, the people that work at the cafe, downstairs, the coffee shop or whatever, those are all prospects. Those are all people who are watching your transformation. Those are all people that become, very easy to start having conversation with. So I'm a huge fan of keep your job don't even question leaving your job until your Isagenix has surpassed your income consistently for 6 months based on residual income. So that's based on cycles, not PIBs, not leadership bonuses, not rank advancement bonuses, an actual residual income. 6 months consistently, maybe a year, depending on your level of or your tolerance for risk. Yeah. And then you might ask the question. So you might ask the question when you feel like it's really costing you money to be at your job, because your business is growing so quickly because of what deep roots you planted in the beginning.
Yeah, Robin says you're such a great speaker, but I want Robin to know that 4 years ago, she wasn't stepping up. I mean, Zach was more in the forefront. It took Eden some time to really grow into her own. And we're all going to do that. You're all going to do that. So people are asking, so let's say you bring someone in for the great advice. Everyone's saying wonderful advice. Vanessa's saying she does the toilet texting at her job. So people are asking, when you bring someone in for the products, how do you kind of flip the script and get them to share without scaring the crap out of them or making them feel like you just totally flip the whole thing? And what I want to ask you is, how many times a day are you drawing out the circles? Because I think not enough people are comfortable with drawing the circles. And you know what? Even if you bring someone in just for the products, there is $10,550 on the table. You have an obligation to show that to people. It is not tough. It is you +2, them +2. That's it. Start drawing the circles. Practice on your mom, on your husband, on your team. I recorded myself doing it 1,000,000 times over. I still got the math wrong. But we have an obligation to share this, to show people. You can even send them Fast Track to Executive. That's, literally laid out by Kathy Coover. So how many times a day are you drawing the circles, and how do you get people to share without offending them or scaring them? Because you're excellent at this.
So it's funny that you asked this question, because I'm doing a keynote at NYKO, and it's basically all about this. It's about why leading with value packs in specific language to present the value so that people don't balk at the price and they really understand that that's the best choice for them. And then how to transition with a customer to talk about the opportunity up front, because it's essential that we let them know that there is an opportunity in that very first conversation. Otherwise, in most cases, we lose our chance, and it's unfair for them. They get to know. And then, of course, transitioning from there into really showing them the money. So I'll give you my exact language, and then hopefully you guys are coming to NYKO, and you'll see my piece and get the materials and all the language that you can take screenshots of.
And if you're not coming, I'm going to post the link tonight. Please purchase the live webinar. It's $50. It is a live webinar, and you can watch Eden's presentation right from stage.
Cool. So I'll tackle your first question, which is what to do when you have a customer that's getting started. I like to talk about the opportunity after I've made a recommendation for a pack, They've told me, hopefully they'd like to get the value pack. And then I'm going to transition right there. They don't even realize it. So most people are going to go from, they want the value pack to great. Where do you want your box shipped? But you're missing something really essential, which is curiously, who are two people that you know would for sure want to do this with you?
Simple as that. Curiously, who are two people that you know that would for sure want to do this? One extra sentence in your enrollment procedure can make a lifetime of a difference.
Absolutely. And that's the bread and butter. And we do that all day long. All day long. Curiously, who are two people that you know would for sure want to do this with you? Well, my friend Susie and my friend Bob. Sweet. Well, the reason I ask is because Isagenix doesn't spend any money in traditional advertising and instead rewards its customers for our referrals. So just by helping Susie and Bob get started on the same pack you're getting, you'll earn up to $820 back right away. How awesome is that? They're going to say, that sounds great. Okay. Now you're going to get one of three answers. You're going to get the person that says, that sounds nice, but it's not for me. Great. They're just going to be a customer. And what more do we want than customers who are going to keep ordering for life and be happy? And our business is built on happy customers. We're stoked to have a great customer. So that would be person A. Person B is going to be somebody who says, that sounds cool, but I just kind of want to see what the products do for me first. Great. So if we were to revisit this conversation on, say, day 5 of your system after you're already experiencing great results, would that be okay? Yes. So I'm already planting a seed in their mind that I'm going to call them on day 5 anyway. So we're going to revisit the conversation then. Or you're going to get person C, which is exciting, few and far between, but you're going to get them. They're going to say, wow, $820 for just 2 people. What happens if I do more than that? Okay. Now you have somebody that could potentially be a great partner for you. So this is not just a way for you to introduce the opportunity in a non-threatening way. It's also a qualifying question so you can see who you're really dealing with and what their level of interest might be in the overall opportunity of Isagenix. Now, of course, from there, we want to show them the $820. I like doing my 3-way calls on Zoom, or the calls with my prospects on Zoom. I think that there's something really special with having a face-to-face connection. It brings down their guard. It's so much better. From my experience, I transitioned about a year ago and it's been a game changer. And so I have these boards up, right now they have some scheduling for the next couple of years, but usually there's circles. See, there's some circles even over there. My office is a mess. I have circles on giant Post-it notes all over my office. So you want to have some sort of a whiteboard or Post-it notes behind you so that you can then show them, you share, they share, so they can see how quickly they can earn that $820. I'm going to be drawing it out on stage at NYKO and really talking about the importance of it. If you don't know how to show the plan, people don't know how to get paid. And if you don't know how to show the plan, then I guarantee you that your team will not know how to show the plan. So Angela has these videos that she's posted of her drawing them out. Study those videos. Go to YouTube. I know Audrey Moss has one. There's so many leaders that have them. Just draw, you share, they share. Just get the basics first. As you advance and as you start to talk with people in a broader vision, you can show them all the way to executive. You can show them how to earn cycles, but really the building blocks that you want to learn how to do every time is you share, they share. Even for somebody who says, you know what, I just want to be a customer, that's not for me. No worries. Would it be okay if I just show you how it works? I'm actually I just would like to practice it. I'm practicing, showing how simple this is for people. I know you're not interested, but you give me 2 minutes of your time to just practice it with you. And especially if you're in person, it's easy to do. Now you're not looking to necessarily change their mind, although some people will wake up when they look and see how simple it is. But what you're really doing is you're taking the opportunity to practice. The way that I learned the plan was Lynn Hagedorn did a tracks to executive training.
ACMDE. That's how I grew my entire business. ACMDE, the tracks to run on.
and I studied that training video, and I used to watch it at my office, and my boss would go to lunch and I'd play the video and I'd pull out some printer paper and I'd draw the circles right alongside her and I'd say the language right alongside her and I'd write the numbers on the side of the page just like she did. And that was how I learned how to draw the plan. And I did it every time. I draw to you share, they share at every sip and sample or shake tasting, whatever you call it, launch party. Every time I have an opportunity to. You want to get so good at drawing it out that you can literally do it in your sleep. But it all stems from that initial question, which is, curiously, who are two people that you know for sure want to do this with you?
Yeah, and you know what I love so much? First of all, you have like Post-its all over. Guys, she's not doing this like via like slides and spreadsheets. This is so like anybody can do this on poster board on your wall. I have stickies and things all over. So anyone can do this. It doesn't have to be on PowerPoint. The second thing that I want to really comment on is she's giving someone a choice. First of all, she's saying no prejudgments, right? Zach prejudged her. He didn't tell her about the opportunity. So she's made it her business never to prejudge anyone. And every single person, whether you come on for weight loss, weight gain, energy, every single person, no matter how rich or how poor or what prejudice you put on that person, there are no prejudgments. Every single person gets the same question. But the beauty of our business is this. Even if the person is A and says, this is not for me, you do a damn good job and you coach the hell out of them, because in 30 days, when they are 15 pounds lighter and they walk into work and her boss said to her, what in God's name did you do? You look magnificent. Even A person can become a B person. Even B person can become a C person. There are no dead ends here, right? This is so physical. This is so emotional. And Zach and Eden, they didn't have huge weight loss stories. This was a couple that was fit. I remember that yellow polka dot bikini, that before and after of you. You looked fantastic beforehand. This is not someone who had to drop 60 pounds to build a business here. This is someone who consistently and diligently does the same thing each and every day. She asks the question. She sees where they are. She coaches them effectively because she knows that in 30 days, even that person who has no interest in sharing, people will notice, people will ask. And even social sharers have an impact on our organization. She's done everything from sip and samples to launch parties. In Maui, they spoke to the limo driver. They recruited their limo driver, who's one of the top income earners on their team. This is about talk. You tell me you have no one to talk to. These guys met a total stranger in Hawaii who changed the dynamic of their team because they had the courage and the belief to share this gift with everyone. It's not about who can I talk to, it's who can't you talk to. There are humans everywhere. Talk to people, grow the courage, believe in what you do. Understand that the person that's told me about this opportunity has forever changed my family's life. I'm sitting in a house, in my own office, on a fancy pink chair. This was not the case 4 years ago. And every Monday that we get paid, I am incredibly grateful for the person that had the courage to share this gift with me. Be that light for someone. So I love you. People are just commenting. People are excited. Give me some last thoughts, because I know that I have so many more questions, but I'm going to let you go because I know we're running short on time. But give people some last thoughts on really what this has been for you, what this can be for them, and why really Isagenix just stands out.
So I will, and you touched on a couple of things these last couple minutes that I want to hit on because they were so poignant. You know, you talked about us meeting Pearson and Christine in Maui, and they're 4 stars now. They earned they earned 6 figures in their first full year of doing Isagenix, which is just amazing.
I want to cry when I hear that.
It's amazing. It's been absolutely life-changing. I think you're going to hear a little bit from them at NYKO as well. And in that car that day, the morning before we got into that limo, Zach and I had a fight. Like we were in a tough spot just personally. We had, we were going through challenges and we had a disagreement right before we got in that car. We were not going into that car with the intention of prospecting the driver, but it just so happened that we were listening for clues, because we're always in the mode of listening for clues. And we heard somebody that we knew deserved to know about Isagenix. And we sparked up that conversation with him, and we got his order for his value pack right when he dropped us off at the airport. So within a 40-minute period, we went from not knowing the guy to having his social security number, which we used to collect back then, and credit card. And he was already going to go, and he had 3 names by the time we even got to our gate. And we weren't in the mode of doing it. But the reason why we were able to be so effective is because A, we're coming from a place of service. It's not about us. It's shifting into the mindset constantly when you're with people is what gift can I give to this person today? What's a gift that they're looking for in their life? A lot of times it's Isagenix. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's other things. Sometimes it's a referral for a naturopath or chiropractor or whatever, right? But we're just, it's fun, and it shifts away from being about me or being about you when you're constantly in the mode of, okay, what's a gift that I could give to somebody today? What's a gift that I could give to this person in this conversation? What's the gift? So that was kind of the backstory to it. But in addition to that, the reason why we're so effective is because we had practiced with so many different people, so many different limo drivers and Uber drivers and taxi drivers and pilots and flight attendants and whatever, who said no first. But we practiced. Practice is everything. And I would invite you to consider this. Don't expect to be good or skilled or even effective at first. Don't expect it. Don't expect to be good at it. But set the intention to become great at it. Set the intention to want to become the best at it. And if you approach this like any athlete would who's made it to the NBA or made it to the semi-pros or whatever, or any pianist who has made it into a concert arena, they approach their crafts with wanting to be the best. And whether the best takes them 2 years, 5 years, or even 10 years, the beauty with network marketing is as you become better and as you become more effective, you also have more time. You also have more freedom. In a perfect world, you're able to create exponential growth inside of the model of network marketing. If you're actually teaching people network marketing, if you're actually being consistent and doing the same thing all the time, then 2 years, 3 years, 5 years down the road, you've created a tremendous amount of freedom. And now it starts becoming so fun because you see how far you've come. And now you start to wonder, oh my gosh, how good, how skilled, how effective am I going to be in 5 years from now? It becomes really, really fun to consider. Like, I remember the first interview that we did with Angela. And Angela, you've become a phenomenal interviewer. Your questions are fantastic. They're so to the point. They're so thoughtful. Like, they're so clear. You have become an incredible interviewer. And in the beginning, you weren't a great interviewer. You learned how to do it the same way I was a terrible robotic speaker when I first started. And I used to think that I had to have everything memorized that I was going to say because I was so terrified of saying the wrong thing. So instead of just wanting to be good now and being impatient, just take the approach of wanting to become great. My intention is that I'm going to become great. I'm going to become a professional. I know it's going to take time. I know it's going to look messy at first, just like it has with every single person who came before me. But just like them, I'm just going to be willing to be bad enough, good enough, and bad enough, long enough until I get good at it. And my last point that I heard you say something about how I have this same conversation again and again and again. And I think that, instead of taking that approach of, okay, I'm willing to be bad enough, long enough until I can get good. Instead of that, people are saying, okay, that didn't work. I'm going to change my process. Or that didn't work. What's that team doing over there? That seems to be working for them. Nope, that didn't work. What about this? It's really important to find a conversation and stick with it. Find a way of asking a question that's effective and stick with it. Find a way of onboarding your team and stick with it. Find a way of coaching your new customers and stick with it. One of the benefits that you have to working with a leader like Angela and some of the other leaders in your team is that there's already proven systems and conversations that they're teaching again and again and again, and they're not just looking in every direction to see what's the next shiny thing. what's the next shiny rattle, and we're going to radically change the way that we do things as a team. So it's really essential that in your process, you find something that works and stay really, really consistent with it, because if you think about it, that's the only way that you can get good. If you ask the question the same way every single time, while it might seem like it's mundane after a while, there's complexity in the way you ask that exact question. The question of, curiously, who are two people that you know would for sure want to do this with you? Yeah. Even the way that I ask that question has been an evolution. So one shortcut, a shortcut to becoming great at showing you share, they share, is do it the exact same way every time. The questions, just be as not as consistent, but as repetitive, as even if it feels redundant. With your 30-second story, tell it the same way every time, because you want your team to hear you telling your story the same way that they can say it when you're not there. Right. And that's what I've learned, is the duplication. The same thing with duplication in mind. And that's the single thing that I can leave you with is just do something that you know that works, even if it hasn't worked for you yet, but it's worked for other people. Do it and just pick it and stick with it.
Yeah. And you know what? I pick things I've learned about the 7 whys from Zach, and I learned about the cake recipe from Jackson Parr, you know, asking those questions, and you can pick and try different things. And I love that, just not being afraid to make a mistake. And, you know, it's so rewarding. I'm sure Eden feels the same way, but for us to see one another grow so much. And, you know, like I see people on my team and I hear them say, oh, I didn't rank advanced. You might not have hit 6-star this time, but you know what, sweetheart, you are not the same person you were a year ago. And when I look at how a person evolves and how much they've grown, and I have to tell you honestly, I've become a better wife, a better mom, a better coach, a better daughter. This business has changed me. I love who I am now. I was angry 5 years ago. I was pissed off at the world. I used every excuse. I blamed everyone. Now there's no blame. If I want to get better, I pick up that book. If I want my team to grow, I got to grow first. And it's such an incredible thing to be a part of. And I hope you guys found value in this, because people are saying they're not going to sleep tonight. You're gonna get to see all the comments. I'm going to send you the recording, but I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I love you and Zach so much. I love what you guys have done for our company. Keep growing, keep striving. You've brought so many beautiful people into our company, and I love the way it's going. I love Emma. I love your limo driver. I love your whole team. And you know what? It's our company really attracts some of the best, most giving people. She did not have the flexibility or the financial connection to be here tonight, but she was here to help you guys grow. So I appreciate that so much, and hope you guys do too. They can't wait to see you at NYKO. They're very grateful. So Vicki says I'm signing someone as she speaks.
Good for you. Well, thank you so much. We love you too. We're always inspired by you. And yeah, you know, being raised in the company, like you guys, you're going to find your way to your class inside of Isagenix, where you just, you and however many leaders you decide to align yourself with, build relationships with, you kind of come up together. You're being raised together. And Angela and I got started around the same time. So we're kind of part of that same class. So it's been really, really fun watching how you've evolved as well. And you know, Zach and I talk about this all the time. We ask the question, is it that Isagenix attracts the best people, or that Isagenix brings out the best in people?
Yeah, that's a great question.
So
I don't know, but I'm blessed to be here, and I thank my lucky stars every day. Amen. So thank you so much for being on. Send my regards to Zach, and I will be rooting and screaming front and center in a couple more weeks. You're going to crush it. Thank you for having me. Thank you, Lovey. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you so much. Good night.